Mark 5. They crossed the lake to the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus stepped out of the boat, a man with an unclean spirit came running from the tombs to meet him. This man lived among the graves, and no one could restrain him anymore, not even with chains. He had often been bound hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and shattered the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Day and night he cried out among the tombs and in the hills, cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell to his knees before him. In a loud voice he shouted, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? Swear to God that you will not torment me." For Jesus had already commanded, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" And he replied, "My name is Legion, for we are many." The spirits begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the region. Nearby, a large herd of pigs was feeding on the hillside. The demons pleaded, "Send us among the pigs, let us go into them." Jesus gave permission, and the impure spirits came out and entered the pigs. About 2,000 rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. The herdsmen ran off and spread the news in the town and countryside. When the people came to see, they found the man who had been possessed by the legion, sitting there clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it explained what had happened to him and to the pigs. Then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been set free begged to go with him. But Jesus said, "Go home to your own people. Tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." So the man went away and began to proclaim in the Decapolis all that Jesus had done for him, and all the people marveled. Later, when Jesus crossed again to the other side of the lake, a great crowd gathered around him. One of the synagogue leaders, Jairus, came and fell at his feet. He pleaded earnestly, "My little daughter is dying. Please come and lay your hands on her so that she may be healed and live." So Jesus went with him, followed by a pressing crowd. In that crowd was a woman who had suffered for 12 years with bleeding. She had endured much under many physicians and had spent all she had, yet grew worse instead of better. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him and touched his cloak. She thought, "If I just touch his clothes, I will be healed." Immediately, her bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering. Jesus, aware that power had gone out from him, turned and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" The disciples replied, "You see the crowd pressing around you, and yet you ask who touched you." But Jesus kept looking. Then the woman, trembling with fear, came forward, fell at his feet, and told him the whole truth. Jesus said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." While he was still speaking, people came from Jairus' house saying, "Your daughter is dead. Why bother the teacher anymore?" But Jesus overheard and said, "Do not be afraid. Only believe." He allowed no one to follow except Peter, James, and John. When they arrived at the house, there was loud weeping and wailing. Jesus asked, "Why all this commotion? The child is not dead, but asleep." They laughed at him, but he took the child's father and mother and the 3 disciples and went inside where the child was. Taking her by the hand, he said, "Talitha koum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately, the girl stood and began to walk around. She was 12 years old. At this, they were completely astonished. Jesus gave strict orders not to let anyone know about it and told them to give her something to eat. Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked advance against me to devour me, it is my enemies and foes who will stumble and fall. Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. Though war break out against me, even then I will be confident. One thing I ask of the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to seek Him in His temple. For in the day of trouble, He will keep me safe in His dwelling. He will hide me in the shelter of His sacred tent and set me high upon a rock. Then my head will be lifted up above the enemies who surround me. At His tent I will offer sacrifices with shouts of joy. I will sing and make music to the Lord. Hear my voice when I call, Lord, be merciful to me and answer me. My heart says of you, seek His face. Your face, Lord, I will seek. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my helper. Do not reject or forsake me, God my Savior. Though my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me. Teach me your way, Lord. Lead me in a straight path because of my oppressors. Do not turn me over to the desire of my foes, for false witnesses rise up against me, spouting malicious accusations. Yet I remain confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong, take heart, and wait for the Lord. John 14. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you also may be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going. Thomas said, Lord, we don't know where you are going, so how can we know the way? Jesus answered, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you really know me, you will know my Father as well. From now on, you do know Him and have seen Him. Philip said, Lord, show us the Father, and that will be enough. Jesus replied, Don't you know me, Philip, even after I have been among you such a long time? Anyone who has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, Show us the Father? Don't you believe that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me? The words I say, I do not speak on my own authority. It is the Father living in me who is doing His work. Believe me when I say I am in the Father, and the Father is in me, or at least believe on the evidence of the works themselves. Truly, I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things, because I am going to the Father, and I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. You may ask me anything in my name, and I will do it. Matthew 14. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard reports about Jesus and said to his attendants, This is John the Baptist, risen from the dead. That is why miraculous powers are at work in him. For Herod had arrested John, bound him, and put him in prison because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. For John had been saying, "It is not lawful for you to have her." Herod wanted to kill John but feared the people because they considered John a prophet. On his birthday, Herodias' daughter danced for the guests and pleased Herod so much that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. Prompted by her mother, she said, "Give me here on a platter the head of John the Baptist." The king was distressed, but because of his oath and guess, he ordered that her request be granted. John was beheaded in prison. His head was brought in on a platter and given to the girl, who carried it to her mother. John's disciples came, took his body, and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus. When Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. Hearing of this, the crowds followed him on foot. When he saw them, he had compassion and healed their sick. As evening approached, the disciples said, "This is a remote place, and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away." Jesus replied, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat." "We have only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish," they answered. "Bring them here to me," he said, and he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking the loaves and fish, he gave thanks, broke them, and gave them to the disciples to distribute. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 baskets of leftovers. The number who ate was about 5,000 men, besides women and children. Later, Jesus sent the disciples ahead by boat while he dismissed the crowd. He went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. That night, the boat was far from land, buffeted by waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they cried. But Jesus said, "Take courage. It is I. Do not be afraid." Peter said, "Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter stepped out of the boat and walked on the water toward Jesus. But seeing the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" When they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me along right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.